I love detective games. So imagine my excitement when I heard that there was a new, unique sandbox detective sim that was recently released. And here's the catch, the whole thing would be procedurally generated. The cities, the suspects, the victims, everything. Which technically means that you could have a unique and different case every single time. It's an idea that you don't really see in a lot of detective games because most of them usually have a pretty linear and predetermined story for you to follow. So, of course, I immediately bought the game, even though it was still in early access. And after playing it for a bit, I was a little disappointed. For the most part, I really enjoyed my time playing this game, but I just think that it could be so much more than what it is right now. So allow me to tell you about Shadows of Doubt. Shadows of Doubt is a first-person sandbox detective sim in a cyberpunk-themed corrupted city where crime is rampant. Citizens are constantly on their guard, the police are corrupted and untrustworthy. Not much difference from real life, huh? Murder cases are usually swept under the rug, but that's where you come in. You play as a private detective, and it is your job to investigate the crime scenes and the city itself in order to catch the murderer. But tread carefully, because no one in this city is on your side. At least until you make a name for yourself. And if you don't manage to catch the suspect in time, guess what? They will keep on killing. And they will constantly keep on doing this until they are caught by you. Also, if you catch the wrong guy as well, so don't do that. It can't be that difficult, right? So the main selling point of this game is the fact that it's completely procedurally generated. In the same way your Minecraft or Terraria world is generated. Or even that mountain in Peak that resets every single day, so you get to climb an entirely different mountain. And in the case of Shadows of Doubt, it means that you will get an entirely different case every single time. The cities are also procedurally generated, so you get to be at an entirely different city. So that sounds pretty good, right? I mean, on paper, it sounds like a good idea. You have infinite replayability. The game is also pretty difficult for a beginner. If you don't know what you're doing, the learning curve will be very steep, because your first initial hours will be spent looking for clues that might not even be useful, and you'll run into dead ends. A lot of dead ends. It's not the most difficult detective game I've played, that one goes to Oberdin, but it can be a bit overwhelming at first, because right after the tutorial, the game just leaves you. It just plops you in the middle of the city and says, hey, just do whatever you want. But once you pick up a little bit of secrets, tips, and tricks, it gets a lot easier. Wow, who knew? Things like the graffiti on the street walls, which are secret passwords for the underground illegal gun shops. Keys usually being hidden under the doormat. And also the fact that you can call a certain number to trace where and when the last call was made. It's a lot. But it's also extremely rewarding when you use all these tips and tricks and you manage to solve your very first case. It never holds your hand, so you just gotta figure things out by yourself. Detective games are never supposed to be easy. A mystery is a mystery for a reason. You're supposed to figure it out yourself. So the game not being very easy is a huge plus. Progression in this game is pretty basic, which can be a good thing because it's not a very confusing system to get used to. The basic line is, you solve cases, you get hella money. And reputation. The higher your reputation is, the easier your life will be. Having a high enough reputation means that you're allowed into the restriction zones in certain parts of the city. The police will let you just run around the crime scene and investigate as you please, and the people around the city are more likely to tell you vital information because they trust you. There are multiple ways to solve a murder in this game. That's the advantage of it being a sandbox. You can go everywhere, just do whatever you want. If one of your victims was found being shot in the chest with a rifle, you can try to visit the underground illegal gun shops by checking their sales ledger and matching the exact same rifle with the one being used to shoot your victim. Or you could start by just searching the victims' homes, maybe their workplace. Maybe you can try to investigate all their co-workers. And don't forget the cameras. Because the setting of this world is an extremely corrupted city, there are cameras literally everywhere. There are some on the streets, and there's one in every single building. By finding the security room, you can look through the camera footage and you can find who met up with the victim right before the time of death. And you'll probably end up doing everything I've just stated. Question though is, how are you gonna do these things? Are you gonna be sneaky and stealthy, or are you just gonna brute force your way through these things? The game does promote being stealthy quite a fair bit. Each NPC has a procedural daily routine, so their schedule is pretty easy to memorize. Vents are also available and all procedurally built in every single building. There are multiple hiding spots underneath the bed or under tables to prevent people from finding you. It's pretty cool. You can just let your imagination take over and just fully get into the noir detective mindset. The only thing limiting your abilities being your creativity and your imagination. And can I just say, I love this pinboard. This thing is so fucking good. This is single-handedly the best feature I've seen in a detective game. You can record down any NPC, any location. You can pretty much write down anything and organize your notes in your own way so you don't lose track of things. It's so good. You can even customize the board a little bit by changing the colors. Or you can even label a specific color with a specific party of people. For example, suspects, colleagues, neighbors, things like that. You get the point. There's also just a certain joy and satisfaction from sticking notes on the pinboard. Seeing all the lines connect to each other, just crossing out suspects that don't match the description, writing down small little notes for extra information. It's just a wonderful way to organize your notes easily and just make it easy to read. I really wish more games had a system like this. There's also a cool little streamer mode that the game supports, where your viewers can be part of the city. The game just replaces the NPC names with the names from your chat, and it gives you all sorts of weird interactions. But it works as a fun little gimmick to make your streams a little bit more interesting. It's really no surprise that the game attracted a lot of people when it first came out. It's a unique twist on detective sims in general, and the sandbox part of the game is technically supposed to give you a ton of replayability, right? So I just recently finished watching Adolescence on Netflix. It's a really, really great show. I'd recommend anyone to watch it, please do. And the show is about this 13-year-old boy who is recently accused of murdering his classmate. And the whole time, all the way from episode 1 to episode 4, me and my friends were questioning why. Why would he kill her? And that's the whole point of the show. You get to see the whole reason why he did it. And asking why is just such a human question to ask, especially when a crime of this scale happens. There has to be a motive. And so far, in Shadows of Doubt, that word does not exist. And the game knows this. The game knows that it doesn't have human logic. That's why it tries to be as vague as possible with some cases. But the setting of the game is that it's a corrupted city. Crime is rampant. It happens every single time. Do you really need a good reason to kill someone? I'm not saying that it has to be deeply written or anything. It can be something small like, oh, you fired me from my job. That gives me a motive to kill you. Or maybe their partner was cheating on them. That gives them a motive to kill them. It's just something small like that works as a motive. Murders that happen randomly are some of the most difficult cases to solve because they're random. There's no pattern to them. And every single case in this game feels like that. System picks a random person and says, hey, you're gonna be the murderer. It then looks through their relationships and then picks another random person, whether it's a neighbor, a colleague, a partner, just anything. And this person will be chosen as the victim. The worst ones are the ones where they just live in the same apartment building, not even neighbors, not even side by side, because that counts as a relationship, I guess, so that gives them motivation to murder each other. I don't fucking know. I remember this one case I was doing. I was looking through the victim's emails to see what kind of clues and leads I can get. And I found one that stood out. It didn't give me any specific clues, but it did give me a motive. And being an idiot, I thought, hey, I need to investigate this some more. Because at that time, I thought the game worked on motives. When in reality, it really does not. And I wasted so much time. In the end, the suspect ended up being a colleague of the victim. And he apparently murdered her because of this reason. Even though the victim was literally the CEO of the company. And the suspect was just the head of HR. This game just feels soulless. When everything is created by a computer, when everything is generated, and nothing is touched by a human, this is the result you get. How can a city with so many people in it and so many things happening at once feel so empty? Also, I know I said before that the game kind of lets you do whatever you want because it is a sandbox, but it also doesn't. You are surprisingly extremely limited in terms of your imagination. Because if you're like me, then you probably want to try out some wacky shit, right? Except the game doesn't really allow you to do that. And I can't even shoot a gun? Really? Every NPC I come across somehow has a gun on them, and they show it. They're not very subtle about it at all, but not me. The only reason I see the devs not adding this in is because guns would probably make the game a lot easier. And they most probably don't want you going around killing citizens, because that's not your job, that's the murderer's job. That's also probably the reason why you can only knock people unconscious. You can't kill them, no matter how many times you beat them up. You can also use like weapons, like swinging weapons, to just knock them unconscious a lot easier and probably give them severe hit trauma, but they're not gonna die, so it doesn't matter. Also, sometimes the NPCs don't give you information and they will ask for a bribe instead. But in my first couple of playthroughs, I didn't have any money, so I didn't want to give them any money, even if I did have it. So I thought, okay, what if I beat them? Just beat all the information out of them, you know? That would work, right? Spoilers. It did not work. It does take you out of the immersion a bit, but I understand. When it comes to sandbox games, you can't code every single thing into the game. Because everyone's got a different idea on how they want to play it, right? So obviously you can't really take that into account. One of my friends who bought this game as well kind of refunded it immediately. And when I asked him why, he just gave me this reason. I couldn't do what I wanted to do. And I think that summarizes the sandbox element of this game the most. Also, this game is super buggy. Almost as buggy as that one dude's laptop. In my very first playthrough, I clipped through the floor and I died from fall damage. I then had to pay the hospital bills for an injury that I had no control over. Just kidding, I didn't pay shit. I've also glitched through multiple doors, walls, vents, people. Oh yeah, and briefcases are also bugged sometimes. Because when you open them, it's supposed to update and give you more information on your pinboard so you know where to look next. Except sometimes it doesn't feel like doing that apparently. Side cases also suffer from this. I remember playing some sort of case where I was supposed to steal an envelope from someone in order to give it to my client. So I spent like, I would say 30 minutes maybe to an hour searching their house, their workplace, their desks, and I couldn't find it. So I searched it up on Google and apparently sometimes it just doesn't spawn. I guess there's a bug that causes the envelopes to just not spawn in general, and that's the main reason why no one supposedly takes this stupid goddamn quest. There's a lot of visual bugs, people just clip through stuff, their clothes just suddenly disappear for some reason. The AI navigation looking like my Valorant teammates. It's a lot better compared to when it was still in early access, but it's still not good. Although, looking at the recent reviews, I'm not so sure at this point. There are probably a mountain of other bugs, but these are the ones that probably frustrated me the most. It's not very polished, definitely not yet. NPCs also don't feel real at all. There are so much limitations and inconsistencies with them. You can only ask a certain handful of questions to every NPC in town, and they will also answer a certain response to you with little to no variation. They just straight up act like robots instead of citizens of our town. Sometimes you'll see a random person run away frantically, like they saw a ghost or something. And you're thinking, okay, maybe they saw a murder. Okay, so you go and ask them. But then they say they didn't see anything weird or suspicious, and they give you absolutely nothing. So why the hell are you running then? And why are you shouting like you're in danger? Their behavior is just incredibly robotic and not realistic at all. It's almost frustrating. It's to a point where you would start thinking, should I even care about the person who died? Because to me, they're just a block of code. They look like it, they feel like it, and they even talk like it. There's just absolutely nothing about them that convinces me otherwise at all. Earlier, I was saying how good the procedure generation was. It's supposed to give you a brand new case in a brand new town every single time. Cases were supposed to be completely different from each other. It just shouldn't feel repetitive. For a game that is supposed to give you a decent amount of replayability, things just sort of die down after a while. Cracks start to show, and a part of it has to do with the procedural generation. So far, as of the recording this video, you can only get a total of 6 different variations to a murder case. Only 6! And once you have finished a variation of each of these cases, it starts to feel really repetitive. Sure, the victim is always going to be different. And yeah, the killer is also going to be different. The time of death, the place, the weapon used, everything. But it does not matter because the core of the case is always going to be the same thing. And the same thing also applies to side cases. There's at least 10 different side cases you can do in this game as of the recording of this video. And yeah, it's a good thing that the side cases have much more variations compared to the main case. But it's only 10. In a sandbox game, there's only 10 different variations of a side quest that you can get. But here's another problem. You don't have to wait for the side quests. During a standard normal case, you have to wait for a murder to occur first, and they usually occur within the first 24 hours of in-game time. But side cases don't have that. So you can take as many as you want at one time, as long as you can find the specific help wanted signs near the phone booths. And that also means that you get burnt out twice as fast compared to normal cases. And like before, the procedural elements really do not do anything. The same boring old side cases constantly plastered over the phone booths. And that's when the game starts to really feel boring. The game is also ridiculously easy to chase. Sure, they give you a ton of options to be stealthy and slow, but brute forcing is always the best way. Sure, the alarm will go off. Oh no, just wait it out, it will be gone pretty soon. Oh no, someone found out that you broke into their house? Just beat them up. And when they fall to the ground, you have plenty of time to just search their whole apartment. Oh what, they got up again? Oh, just beat them up again, it's so easy. It's ridiculous. Any big options you find in their house can be used as a weapon anyway. And if you can't find a weapon, you just use your fists. There's even a counter feature in the game. And if they start shooting at you, with the player's speed, you can just pretty much outrun anything. Also, this stupid buggy door mechanic, which I know all of you abuse the shit out of. There are also medical vending machines literally everywhere in the city. This does depend on how your city is procedurally generated. But there's usually a bunch of machines that you can find. But they're not hard to find, and they're not expensive as well. So if you get injured, you can just heal up super fast. I assume the devs wanted to make this whole thing a big risk and reward play if you went with brute force. But it just ended up turning into a reward play. There's barely any risk involved. And as a player, this just seems like the best optimal way to play the game. You don't even have to think outside the box. You just go in, smack them, get the info you need, and then you get out. The game is also not the best in terms of optimization. I run at 3070, which technically should be enough, especially for a game that looks like these with these graphics. Yet I'm getting several frame drops on certain parts, even on the intro. And the rain is terrible, by the way, just turn that shit off. And sometimes my game just straight up crashes right after I launch it. I really like the look of the game, but it is really not the best in terms of optimization as of right now. So overall, what do I think of Shadows of Doubt? It's not a bad game by any means. You can tell the devs put a lot of time into the game and their hard work really shows. If you look at it at just a pure facts and logic standpoint, the game works really well. There is absolutely zero emotional logic at all. You just gotta find the facts and the evidence, and that's it. I find myself coming back to this game, especially when I'm craving that itch, that detective itch, and I just want to play a detective game. I just want to solve some cases. That's when I come back to this game. And if Cold Power Games actually figures out how to implement human logic into Shadows of Doubt, I think it would easily be a 10 out of 10 game. If every case felt like it had a logical story and conclusion to it, instead of the system just choosing a random person and says, hey, you're gonna be it for this round. It will be so much more meaningful to have people actually living, breathing, and struggling just to stay alive in this city of violence. Only if that is their intentions for this game, because they might not even want to make it like that. They might just want to create a chill detective sim where you just solve cases and have fun, without getting too much into the story and the emotional aspect of it. And I think that's perfectly fine. But if each murderer had a proper reason to turn into a murderer, despite how small it may be, I think it would just bring so much life and depth into the corrupted and dead city. NPCs wouldn't really feel illogical or unrealistic. Cases would actually make some sort of sense instead of someone just doing it just because they can. And the whole world wouldn't have to feel robotic or completely soulless. But until then, I think there's a lot of potential, but it's not quite there yet.